Your biggest enemy is your uncontrolled mind. Think about it. Every time you said, I can't do this, that wasn't reality speaking. That was your mind. Every time you delayed your goals, every time you chose comfort over growth, every time you gave up just before a breakthrough, that was not fate. That was your mind undisciplined, untrained, and unchecked. The mind is a powerful servant, but a dangerous master. If you don't take control of it, it will control you. It will feed you fear when you need courage. It will give you excuses when you need action. It will magnify problems and shrink your potential. And here's the truth most people don't want to accept. Your life is not controlled by your circumstances. It is controlled by your thoughts about those circumstances. Two people can face the same struggle. One rises, one falls. What's the difference? Mindset. One says, this is hard, I quit. The other says, this is hard, I grow. The battlefield is not outside, it's inside. Must learn to observe your mind, challenge your mind, and when necessary, override your mind, because your mind will lie to you. It will tell you you're not good enough. It's too late. You don't have what it takes. But those are not facts. Those are conditioned thoughts. And anything that is conditioned can be reconditioned. You have to become the authority over your thinking. Don't believe everything you think. Instead, ask, is this thought helping me or hurting me? If it's hurting you, reject it. Replace it with something stronger. I am capable, that I will figure it out. I refuse to quit. Discipline your mind the same way you would train your body. You wouldn't go to the gym once and expect results. So why expect mental strength without daily effort? Feed your mind with purpose. Guard it from negativity. Direct it toward growth. Because whatever you consistently think about, you become, if you think weak, you act weak. If you think strong, you act strong. The choice is yours. Understand this clearly. Success is not just about talent. It's not just about opportunity. It's about mental control. The ability to stay focused when distractions are everywhere. The ability to stay positive when things go wrong. The ability to keep going when your mind is begging you to stop. That's the difference. So starting today, make a decision. No more being a prisoner of your thoughts. No more letting fear dictate your actions. No more allowing doubt to steal your future. Take control. Speak to your mind with authority. Tell it, I am in charge. I decide what I think. I decide what I do. And when your mind resists that, that's when you double down. Because every time you win against your own mind, you become stronger. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you move closer to your goals. And one day you'll look back and realize the moment you controlled your mind was the moment your life changed. So remember this, your greatest enemy can destroy you, or your greatest asset can elevate you. It all depends on one thing: who's in control. Everything begins with awareness. Most people go through life reacting instead of understanding, allowing their thoughts to control their actions without ever questioning where those thoughts come from. The truth is, your mind has been shaped over years by experiences, environment, and repetition, and if you don't take the time to observe it, you will continue to live on autopilot. An uncontrolled mind often disguises itself as logic. It tells you to stay comfortable, to avoid risk, to delay action until the right time. But when you look closely, you'll notice a pattern. These thoughts are not protecting you, they are limiting you. Fear presents itself as caution. Doubt presents itself as realism. And slowly, without realizing it, you begin to accept these internal voices as truth. Awareness is the moment you interrupt that cycle. It's when you step back and say, why am I thinking this? Is this helping me move forward, or is it holding me back? That simple act of questioning creates a powerful shift. Instead of being controlled by your thoughts, you begin to observe them. And once you observe them, you gain a choice. You can choose which thoughts to accept and which to reject. You can decide whether to act on fear or move forward despite it. This is where self-mastery begins, not by eliminating negative thoughts completely, but by refusing to let them dominate your decisions. When you become aware of your inner dialogue, you stop being a prisoner of your mind. You become its leader. And that single shift from unconscious reaction to conscious control can change the entire direction of your life. Your mind is not fixed, it is conditioned. Every belief you hold, every thought that repeats in your head has been built over time through exposure and repetition. What you tell yourself daily becomes your reality, whether it empowers you or limits you. This means that negative thinking is not something you were born with, it is something you've practiced. And anything practiced can be changed. Most people unknowingly reinforce limiting beliefs. They repeat thoughts like, I'm not good enough, or I can't do this. And over time, these thoughts become automatic. The mind doesn't question repetition, it accepts it as truth. That's why the key to transformation lies in consciously choosing what you allow to take root in your thinking. Reprogramming the mind begins with interruption. The moment a negative thought appears, you don't entertain it to challenge it. You replace it with something stronger, something that moves you forward. Instead of "I can't," you say "I'm learning." Instead of "this is impossible," you say "this will take effort, but I'll find a way." At first it may feel unnatural. That's because you are breaking old patterns and building new ones. But with consistency, the new thoughts become familiar, and the familiar becomes automatic. This is how transformation happens, not in one moment of motivation, but in repeated mental discipline. When you take control of what you think, you begin to reshape how you act. And when your actions change, your results follow. The mind is like a garden. If you don't plant something intentionally, weeds will grow by default. But when you choose your thoughts with purpose, you begin to grow something powerful: confidence, clarity, and belief in your ability to create a better future. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act, but that is where they lose control. Emotions are temporary, unpredictable, and often misleading. If you rely on how you feel, your progress will always be inconsistent. Some days you'll feel strong, focused, and ready. Other days you'll feel tired, doubtful, and distracted. If emotions are in charge, your direction will constantly change. Discipline changes that. Discipline is the ability to act regardless of how you feel. It is choosing what is necessary over what is comfortable. An uncontrolled mind seeks pleasure, avoids discomfort, and looks for the easiest path. It tells you to rest when you should work, to quit when things get hard, and to delay when action is required. But growth never comes from comfort. It comes from doing what is difficult repeatedly. When you develop discipline, you stop negotiating with your excuses. You don't ask, "Do I feel like doing this?" You decide this needs to be done, and you do it. That shift in thinking gives you control. It removes emotional dependency and replaces it with purpose-driven action. At first, discipline feels like restriction. It feels uncomfortable because you are going against your natural impulses. But over time, it becomes your greatest source of freedom. Why? Because you are no longer controlled by mood, fear, or distraction. You become consistent, reliable, and focused. The real power is this: every time you act with discipline, you strengthen your mind. You prove to yourself that you are in control. And once you build that habit, you realize something important: you don't need motivation to succeed. You need commitment and the willingness to act no matter what. Real change does not happen in a single moment of inspiration. It is built through consistent daily effort. Many people feel motivated for a short time, but they fail to sustain that energy because they rely on occasional bursts instead of steady habits. The mind, like the body, responds to repetition. What you do daily shapes who you become. Mental training is not something you practice once and forget. It requires intention every single day. It shows up in the way you start your morning, the thoughts you allow to stay, and the actions you choose when no one is watching. Small disciplines such as focusing your attention, rejecting negativity, and reminding yourself of your goals may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time, they create powerful results. Consistency builds strength. Each day, you choose to control your thoughts, you reinforce a new pattern. Each day you push past doubt, you weaken its influence. Progress may feel slow at first, and you may not see immediate results, but that is part of the process. Growth is happening beneath the surface, shaping your mindset and preparing you for greater challenges. The key is to stay committed, even when it feels repetitive or difficult. Success is not about doing something extraordinary, once it is about doing the right things repeatedly. When you make mental discipline a daily practice, it becomes part of your identity. Over time, you will notice a shift. You become more focused, more resilient, and more in control. And what once required effort begins to feel natural. That is the power of consistency. It turns deliberate actions into lasting transformation. In the end, everything comes down to one simple truth. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your mind. When you become aware of your thoughts, you can begin to understand the patterns and connections that are driving your behavior. You take the first step toward change. When you begin to recondition them, you reshape your beliefs. When you act with discipline instead of emotion, you gain control over your actions. And when you practice this daily with consistency, it becomes a part of who you are. An uncontrolled mind creates limitation, but a trained mind creates possibility. The difference between the two is not talent or luck, it is intentional effort. Every thought you choose, every action you take, and every habit you build is shaping your future. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent and conscious. Take ownership of your mind, guide it with purpose, and refuse to let it work against you. Because once you master your mind, you don't just change your thinking, you change your direction, your results, and ultimately your entire life.